It's all happening here on Gotham TV.
People who go to a Troma movie know they're going to be challenged. They know they're going to have a very strong emotion. Scream! Whether they're pissed off, whether they are happy, whether they can masturbate, whatever it is, it will be a very strong emotion. My name is Lloyd Kaufam. I'm one of the founders of Troma Entertainment, and Troma is the oldest independent studio in the United States, possibly in the world. You're screaming, scream! Ah! Bring your hands in. Ah! I think what's interesting about Troma is that we have been sort of a Cuisinart of genres. We have mixed everything together. So you'll see comedy, you'll see science fiction, you'll see gore, you'll see eroticism. That's sort of, I think, what is known as the traumatic touch. There's also the traumatic bullshit, which you are hearing a lot of today.
He wants to incorporate you because he knows that you're the effects guy, so you'll be able to direct it the right way where it'll look the best. So he'll pull you in to help direct the scene, you know, so you get a lot of creative input.
Lloyd pretty much lets you do whatever you want to do. If you have an idea, just give it to him and he'll say, you know, it's great idea, and gets incorporated into the movies.
I think the most important thing about a Troma movie is that it's to be entertaining. Movies are there to entertain people. And then within that, I get interested in themes. Every movie that Troma does is pretty much ripped from something going on in today's headlines. For example, with Sergeant Kabuki Man, there were newspaper articles about the Japanese and the Americans and how we were starting to have another war over the economic and cultural supremacy of the world. With Toxic Avenger, I was getting newsletters about how there were toxic waste dumps ticking away like time bombs. Terra Firma is a Frank Capra movie, just traumatized. And what makes Troma successful is that there is a warmth to our films. Happy endings are important, of course, and loyalty, decency, truth, idealism, and the turn-on of seeing attractive men and women copulating. I mean, see serious art with people in small clothing. Terra Firma is going to have more bullet hits than any movie in film history, except perhaps Sam Peckinpah's Wild Bunch. But we're going to have exploding breasts, and that's far more historically significant. Troma has both women in small clothing as well as men in small clothing. And
why are you staring at me like that?
I don't think it's exploitive. I really don't. I think, you know, if you don't want to do it, then you shouldn't do it.
If you interview the young people who work here, I think you will find that they are not here for money. They are not here for the glitz and the glamour and the limos, and they're not looking for Oscars.
You know, the great thing about Troma is that they work you so hard, and it is really a team environment, that no matter what department you're in, when you're done, you're a professional.
The entire budget of Terra Firma is $350,000.
You wouldn't do this if you didn't love films. I mean, it's always been an uphill battle.
Troma would much prefer to take $20 million, and instead of making half of a Hollywood movie, we'd rather make 30 Troma movies. And the media has brainwashed the public into thinking these movies that cost $8 million or $12 million, those are independent movies. They're not independent. They are no more independent of the major studios than my asshole is independent of my body. Hello? Oh, man, beautiful. Digglemore. Oh, incredible. Oh, beautiful. Studied Latin. Yale has a very good Latin department. And Virgil, Book 2 of the Aeneid, in the ancient Latin, Troma means excellence on celluloid. I was put in a little teeny-weeny room with a film nut, and our beds were head to foot, so that his Godard stinking feet were literally inches from my nose, and I inhaled the aroma du Troma. I literally caught the movie bug from this film nut. It was my roommate at Yale. Tonight is a big night in Tromaville because there will be an 18-film retrospective that begins at the Anthology Film Archives.
I grew up on these films, and I wanted to see some respect put back in the name of Troma, if there was ever any. But
I have had a long career. When you think about it, I'm 54 years old, directed 25, 30 movies. There are very few Hollywood directors that get to direct more than 2 or 3 movies if they're lucky. By the way, Oliver Stone, who got into movies because I did, He would have been writing lousy novels, I think, if it had not been for me. If you look at the Troma library, you'll see Kevin Costner's first movie, Sizzle Beach, USA. There's one called The Wedding Party. It's De Palma's first movie, Robert De Niro's first movie, Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, Billy Bob Thornton's first movie.
It's boobs, it's violence, it's the American way, it's funny.
Girls complain about it like, oh, too much sex, too much violence, who cares? It's funny.
Is a prankster, a magician, and a whirlwind of terror.
Because the insanity you see in the movie is the insanity he has in his head.
We've got a project now in development where, you know, Jane Austen is a hot property, Sense and Sensibility. We have been developing a movie called Schlock and Schlockability, The Revenge of Jane Austen, which is going to be great. Jane Austen is sent down to Earth, and she's reincarnated in the guise of a very hard-bodied Tromette to clean up the world of art.
Up next on A New York Life, GQ goes for the beef with Sebastian Lecon.